Namaste from Bharat.
Bali was Bali and New Delhi is New Delhi.
Multiple chickens are coming home to roost. I think it answers the question if you would be objective enough to understand it.
I would urge you to look at council regulation.
So I want to ask you again, are you concerned that perceived democratic backsliding in India is going to undermine its efforts to become a rising power in the world?
I think it answers the question if you would be objective enough to understand it. I think it says very clearly that the people who are writing these reports have a strong bias. Often they distort facts. Many of these reports are actually riddled with inaccuracies. So I put it to you, there's an ideological agenda out there. I don't know why that's hard to understand. I could take a view that the individual in question, Mr. Soros, is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Now, if I could only stop at old, rich, and opinionated, I would put it away. But he is old, rich, opinionated, and dangerous.
As a promoter, justifier, and I'm sorry to say, spokesperson of a terrorism industry, which is the mainstay of Pakistan, his positions were called out and they were countered.
The EU should be putting sanctions on refined oil products from India using Russian oil. I just wondered what the response of the minister was. Thanks.
I really don't see the basis for your question because my understanding of the council regulations is that if Russian crude is substantially transformed in a third country, then it's not treated as Russian anymore. I would urge you to look at Council Regulation 833/2014.
I want to go back to Russia, and if you look at the language that was used in Bali, and you look at the language that was used now, gone is any reference to Russia and its aggression. Were those concessions made in order to get Russia to sign on? And do you think the weight of this has been watered down and does that take away from its importance, especially when you're talking about fuel and food security?
I would only say Bali was Bali and New Delhi is New Delhi. I mean, Bali was a year ago. The context, the situation was different. Many things have happened since then. In fact, if you see in the geopolitical segment of the leaders' declaration, there are in totality 8 paragraphs, 7 of which actually focus on the Ukraine issue.
Dr. Shashi Tharoor said, you must not have such a thin skin and must cool it. Would you agree?
I saw that picture of that guy climbing up the flagpole and pulling down our national flag. Honestly, tell me, if you saw it, didn't your blood boil? Do you want me to have a thick skin on that? If somebody sort of, I would say, insults your country or dishonors your what you hold dear or attacks, your core positions, absolutely, I have a thin skin. Our problem is that the present downturn in our ties was not our creation. It was created by China. It was created by China violating 2 agreements of 1993 and 96 and moving forces to the line of actual control in violation of those agreements. In the border areas, we have resolved some issues. There are issues we have not. I continue to do this. In diplomacy, you never give up. But as I said, it finally takes 2 hands to clap. And China too must have that belief in a workable relationship if that is to happen.
the unnamed country to our west, which we are talking about. But they have a much, their problems are much more long term. They're much more deeper historically in terms of, what happens when distortions have been introduced into the natural progress of an economy. That if you have, let us say, excessive expenditure on the military, or if your borrowing has not been prudent, or if you have infrastructure which doesn't pay its way, I think there are a lot of factors there. In multiple chickens are coming home to roost at the same time.
My question is just in continuation to the Canada a topic that you addressed. What would be your response to the latest reports that have come in where it is said that intelligence was shared amongst the Five Eyes about the assassination, is what they're calling it?
I'm not part of the Five Eyes. I'm certainly not part of the FBI. So I think you're asking the wrong person.
We cannot continue with acts of terrorism and say the cooperation will continue, will happen nevertheless. So I think there are issues there, and it's time that we recognized the seriousness of those issues and not allow terrorism to happen by night and trade by day.